Well, hey there. Welcome to the People Gardener podcast. Happy to have you here this week. Excited to have a returning guest, Jean Foster. And I reached out to her because I knew she was a Monday.com fanatic. Absolutely loved it. And her team of people that she works with is all over the world. So I figured, you know what? This woman knows how to use this and get the most out of it. So I thought she'd be great to have on. So welcome, Jean. Happy to have you here.
Thanks, Rhonda. Super happy to be here and great to have an opportunity to connect again.
Yeah, wonderful. How many different countries actually participate in the Monday.com boards?
Gosh, I'd have to count them on my fingers. I would say probably between 5 and 8 countries at any one time. Yeah.
Because you have a large team down in Latin America.
Yeah, we have in Central America, we have a
America.
team in El Salvador, we have a team in Argentina in South America. Our company also has teams in India and Romania and throughout Europe, as well as the US and Canada. So we've got people all over the place and then in basically every state across the US.
So let's start. Why do you love Monday.com? What is it that you really like? People should actually know, what is your function? What is your position with the company?
So I'm currently the director of account support services. I came into this organization in January of last year when the company that I worked for was acquired by my current company. And I won't be like naming my current company or anything because but what I want to start with is that when we very first started using Monday.com at my previous company, which was Stratacore, based out of Seattle, we did an exhaustive review of multiple project management systems, including all the big names, like, all the ones you all know, which I don't want to, bash any particular system. But what I'll say is the reason we chose Monday, well, there were multiples, but it did the most of what we wanted it to do for the most cost-effective. It was just really cost-effective compared to some of the other bigger names. And they had a really rapid development cycle and strong support for their development. And it has a fantastic user interface. I would say you could kind of classify it as spreadsheets on steroids, but it has a wonderful user interface that is extremely intuitive, that allows you to use automations to complete tasks, sort of the if-then type of statements that are extremely helpful and really streamline what my team is doing. And so we have a CRM, we have an order management system, but the projects that we're working on often have so many milestones that really can't be effectively managed in a CRM or an order management system. The CRM is really to track your conversations with the client, right? And an order management system tracks the key milestones that need to be passed along to other parts of the business and all the way through to the revenue side. Right. But there are so many steps in between those things most of the time, especially on large projects, especially when you're working on projects that span continents and you're working with, multiple different vendors and all of those things. There's just so many more milestones than you can feasibly capture in an order management or a CRM. And so Monday is super flexible. We can build Monday boards out to capture the milestones required in specific projects. We can collaborate with our clients. So we can add our clients in for a read only or give them the ability to write to certain aspects of a project. So it's a huge element of what we use Monday for is when we need to have ongoing real-time client collaboration. We can do that. We can give clients visibility only to certain parts of a project so that we can keep our internal milestones to ourselves, but then provide them a way to see updates in real time without contacting us. It allows them to log in and do that. So I think from that standpoint, really that collaboration, whether it's internal collaboration or external collaboration with our clients, we've added vendors in as well on large projects. So what we're doing primarily is IT infrastructure, and we might be doing migrations of a client's entire network that supports their global business structure from one set of products and network elements over to new technology. There's just a variety of things that we would be doing using Monday to track the minutia. And then from our standpoint, also, we use it to make sure we're capturing when something has installed or completed, and then when there might be a contract renewal coming up. And we have automations that write from the project board to a reminder board that says, hey, this was a 3-year contract. We need to check with them, 6 months out, or those types of things. So we have it, when you mark it installed or completed, it automatically writes to this reminder that says, you need to check on the contract here and make sure that they're still getting the best pricing and the best deal.
Are you having to figure out what you want on each of the boards? Have you created templates that
we have templates?
So templates are something that you can build yourself?
Yeah, you can build templates yourself. They have templates, Monday does. They have templates for different types of projects, whether it's marketing or financial or implementation of software or whatever. They have various templates. We've then taken those and created our own. And we also use templates we use pre-sales and post-sales. So we're managing the pre-sales cycle with all of the quoting and pricing and proposal creation and total cost of ownership, all of those elements on a pre-sales project board. And then we have the post-sales project board that tracks it from the time the contract is signed all the way through the full implementation of all the sites. But we have templates for those with our key milestones that we have to have in common, right? Because then those translate to key milestones in our other systems.
Right.
One thing that I will say is that Monday's architecture is a flat architecture. So it's not designed for like order management with any kind of hierarchy of, main business and sub businesses and other relationships. It's really just to manage the project. So I would never recommend it as a CRM or anything that requires relationships between hierarchy in client relationships. And that also makes it a challenge to integrate fully with other systems. So that's why it's really important that we know our key milestones so that we're eliminating as much duplicate work as possible. And then also know what goes in between, right? So it's all the little tiny steps in between that we want to make sure are happening on a timely basis, so that we can push a project and propel it forward. But yeah, so we use their templates, we make our own and have those available to the team.
How do you determine who creates the board, the initial board?
Our boards could be internal project boards or external client-facing project boards. If it's an external client-facing project board, the person creating that is the person who's managing that project. So it's the project manager that will create the board. The manager of the team will oversee and make sure, they check on all the boards for their team from a quality assurance standpoint to make sure they're hitting all the key milestones, to make sure they're not missing anything, and that they have the appropriate data in the board. For internal projects, it's whoever is running that project, right? And then you have the ability to add different user types, whether they can just be read only, they can be external or internal, they can have edit capabilities, they can have the ability to create automations or not. So you can make them, give them full edit capability or restrict it more than that.
So in your position, do you have sight into all of the boards that are related to the area
I
oversee?
into most of them. I mean, people can have their own project board. They can create a board, but
Right.
I'm added in to almost all of them. And there is hierarchy from that standpoint. Like you can set it up so that you can view all of the activity happening in your organization.
Right. What size was the organization when you were doing all of your research into, okay, what are we going to do? Which one fits us best? How many people were in that organization?
We had about 40 people company wide. I think I had maybe 25 of those were in my group. And then now my group is about 40 people in my group, and our organization within the company is around 250 people. Many parts of our organization in the broader company also use Monday.com. So that was actually an interesting piece, is that when we were acquired, they already had Monday in minimal use for, specific high level corporate projects. But we brought over our practice for using it in the client facing situations.
Right. In your research that you did, and I know this was a few years ago, is there a minimum number of people that you would think you would need in order for a board like that to be more effective than actually just standing up and talking to somebody?
I use Monday to manage my personal stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think it matters. Like, I think Monday is such a great tool. I use it I'm not just part of collaborative boards. I have my own board to manage everything, and I can have tasks from other boards that I'm on right to my own personal board using automations so that I can keep track of the updates on everything and just have a high level view of all the boards I'm on and any tasks I have. I don't think it matters. I think you could have 5 people. I think you could have just yourself, although from a cost perspective, I'm not sure what that would look like. Like, I think you can probably just buy a one-person Monday.com license and use it to manage whatever you're using it for.
You just mentioned using an automation to bring something that you're responsible for so that it updates on your board if there's any changes to that particular thing.
Basically, you can have multiple project boards. They can have groups within those project boards. You can have all the different columns of your project board, and you can write an automation that moves something from one group to another on a single board. Or you can write an automation that says, if this thing happens, if this status goes to this, I want to copy this onto this destination, which would be another board.
Basically, what you're doing is you're setting up in advance to be triggered when there is possible action you may need to take in order to do your tasks.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if it's in a single board, we used the Entrepreneurial Operating System in my previous companies at Stratacore. And we had our Monday board set up to capture all of the EOS elements, right? So we would have our agenda for our meetings. We ran all of our meetings out of Monday using the EOS format, and you would put on issues to discuss. And if you marked it solved, the automation would move it to your solved issues list on that board. If you created a to-do in your to-do section and you marked it to done, using the EOS terminology, it would move to your to done tasks. And then I also used it for managing my one-on-ones. And we had an automation that said, if you mark an issue as, I can't remember the exact status, but if you marked an issue for review, it would write it to a board for our HR to view, and it would put it with a status flag so that when it came to review time, you could just sort by the categories in your completed issues and have your little note of everything that you wanted to make sure you didn't forget about when it came time to review.
Very cool. Yeah. Are most people diligent about dealing with the status, like completing it or moving it? Like, is that a bit of a challenge if people aren't addressing that component of it?
We look for people who are really a certain profile of,
Right.
their project management people. And
Right.
so they really want to see things move forward. And we have regular meetings with our sales team to go through where every project we're working on, what the status is. And we update those boards before the meeting. That's
Right.
our commitment to our
Right.
business partners, that we'll have the project boards updated before we have the meeting with them, so
Right.
that we only have to call out the things that are at risk, and they can just read through it, and it takes less time for the meeting.
Well, wow. It sounds like it does a lot. Keeps
It
everybody.
does. I mean, no system is, the end all be all, but it really is a flexible tool that has really helped our team stay on top of all of the smaller elements of the projects we work, and make sure that we keep our communication going with both our internal and our external clients.
Somebody that's never used it before that comes on board with you, what kind of a learning curve for them till they're at a place where they feel comfortable?
I think it's a really intuitive system. I'm not the most techie, like app techie person. I can talk infrastructure, underlying infrastructure with you, but from a app techie type of person, that's not me. And I do fine with Monday. I
Yeah.
mean, I can build my own automations and build my own boards and do all
Right.
of those things. So we do some basic training with the team. We have some YouTube videos that are available to learn how to do Monday. We also use an internal training platform called Udemy that has some training available there. And then we just work with team members to go side by side and do on the job with other members of the team. It is really the one of the more intuitive elements of what we do for people to catch on to. It's by far one of the easier systems and tools that we provide to our team.
Was this an app that they have open on their computer all the time, like when they're at work? Or do they?
Oh, I would say so for
Yeah.
the most part. Yeah, we're using it day in and day out to manage milestones.
Right.
And so it's kind of you end up living in there a lot. And certainly for almost any meeting we're on, we're, reporting out on progress from the milestones that are there.
Any last encouraging words to small business owners who are completely discombobulated and unorganized with regards to Monday might be something that they should look at?
Yeah, I would just say find a system and tools that work for you, but use them.
Yeah.
And Monday's a great place to start because it's intuitive, it's easy to look at, and it can be used for collaboration with clients as well as internal teams. And so it has a lot of things that you can do. I would say we've probably pushed it to its limits as far as beyond what it was initially built for. We've used it really, really heavily. And you just have to start playing around with it. But for me, I don't know about anyone else, but I can't remember all the things I need to get done in my head anymore. I just can't track all the things, right? And so Monday has such excellent task and milestone management. I use it just for the things I commit to in meetings. I put them in my own personal Monday board
Right.
and make sure that I'm not losing track of what I've said I would do. And that helps me professionally to make sure I'm not missing what I've committed to personally.
Well, thank you very much for sharing.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been an incredible tool for us, and our clients love it.
Awesome. Okay, folks, that's it for this week. We'll talk to you again next week.